This entire military is one cohesive, dedicated force. And the threats to our nations, they don't sleep. They're watching our every move. Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. They may be watching this right now. Our military should not be mistaken for our cable news gab-fed show. We don't care what you look like. We don't care who you voted for, who you worship, what you worship, who you love. It doesn't matter if your dad left you millions when he died or if you knew who your father was. You have the code of a machine of lethal moving parts that you would be wise to avoid if you know it's good for you. We will not be intimidated. We will not back down. We don't want war. But if you want war with the United States of America, there's one thing I can promise you, so help me God. Someone else will raise your sons and daughters.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.com.
And do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Hey, those birds are playing my theme. Welcome to this beautiful 421 Easter morning Monday. Woo! What a weekend we had. Lots of eggs, lots of chocolate, lots of holy mackerel belly fills, hopefully. And you know what? Let me not forget our Passover, beautiful people, which was a week ago. Always in the saving grace. It's always fun to watch how different denominations always celebrate the I am presence. It is that Christ light that is in all of us, whether we like to choose to believe that or not. Yes, I said that. But anyhow, no matter what denomination you are, this show today is all about bringing in new age healing. So a lot of people were very, very skeptical. A lot of people out there, and I try to talk about this all the time. You always hear my thing going, give me your nails, give me your nails. And we talk about this in our other debuts where we were talking about how to heal our bodies, no matter if it's mind, body, soul. We try to heal all that does no longer serve a purpose for us, right? So I figured today, because I just felt the vibrations of the Christ energy so pulsating this weekend. Then you have the equinox, and you have all these different varieties of waves and extensions that come through, and you just don't know where it is. Even the moons, right? When you have solar flares, all of these things actually contribute to our bodies. And it's so funny because people are like, I don't know why I feel like this. Well, it's a secret, but it really isn't a secret. And you know why it's not a secret? Because frequencies play a major part of our being. We are electromagnetic beings. And people are like, MJ, is this science class? Yeah, it has to be, because new age medicine is coming. And I want you to know this. So do you have to go to and get your meds all the time? What do meds do? What did I tell you about Big Pharma? A lot of Big Pharma meds, they're not there to heal you. They're there to put that freaking Band-Aid on you. I mean, come on. Do I really want to be on medicine the rest of my life? Or do I want to fix the problem? Because what happens when you can't get your pharmaceuticals? Then we have some pretty ornery people, don't we? because we can't get pharmaceuticals quick enough in order to balance our brain or to balance our healing of our body or our aches and our pain. Did you know that pain in itself is such a low vibration that we become very nasty? We become nasty individuals when we have pain. Well, everyone's going to say, well, that's obvious, MJ. No, you can have pain without being nasty because of frequencies. So this is how we're going to change the script. We're flipping the script. Can you believe MJ flipping a script? Well, we're going to flip that script one more time, but we're not going to change it into it's going to be a positive consciousness, but you're going to see how as soldiers we did. Now, I was given this article about David Hawkins, who wrote this beautiful concept. And he, no matter that our genre, our spiritual genre, right, as 369 light code beings, which is what I practice, and that is the connection to the highest universe energy, which is Father, Mother, God, that we all talk about, right? It is that belief system. It is that frequency level. And what are we trying to do? We're trying to get our particle physicists who talk about the theory of spooky relativity that Einstein talked about all the way back when, trying to figure out how that is connected to the black hole and how the frequencies. Now, if you are in the northern states if you're in our northern states of here, United States, like all those states up there, you've been seeing an awful lot of Aurora Borealis in the last year, right? And you're like, all of a sudden we get to see them. No, we don't have to travel to Alaska anymore. We don't have to travel to Finland or Iceland, or Norway, even though they're the most gorgeous ones over there and out there. Our indexes of frequencies are shifting so low because the earth tilted. The earth tilting causing, anybody guess it? What do we guess? Climate change. You're right. Because every so many thousands of years, I want to say 10,000. I don't know if I'm right, you science people out there. But every so many thousands of years, our earth axis tilts, right? And the north becomes south and the south becomes north. In every scripture of every denomination, says it is at that time. The Christians know it as Noah's Ark, right? The Buddhists know it as something else, right? The Hindus know it as something else. The Taoism. Everybody knows that shift because it was in the last 10 to 15,000 years. They know that shift. The great floods came, the great eruptions come, right? It contacts our continental shelf. It causes a frequency imbalance. And when that happens, catastrophic things on Earth happen, right? Plate tectonics happen, shifting of our earth and our sphere. It happens. So when you're finding all those fossils in the water and you're like, how'd that get there? That our basic science tells us that our earth rotates. So people about fossil fuels and about all these things, how about we get to the core of the issue? I'm not saying don't and not protect Mother Earth and don't treat her with all respect. That is not what I'm saying whatsoever. Please don't even think that's what I'm saying out there. It's not what I'm saying. I'm saying is understand how our Mother Earth works. Understand that frequency values from our Earth. Yes, we can be preservationists. Yes, we can be conservationists. Absolutely. And I think that is absolutely awesome. But no matter how much preservation and conservation you are going to do, the earth is still going to tip. And where it is dry will become wet, and where it is wet will become dry again. Because that's how our earth rotates. That's how they layer and they layer and they layer. All of a sudden you're into these mountains and you've been digging and digging and digging, and all of a sudden you hit fossils. Our permafrost is defrosting it, and our animals who froze to death were all within there, right? You understand how that works? So frequencies. It all revolves around science. It's not witch. It's not a bruja. It is not one of those elements. And yes, I understand in the book of Revelations inside the Bible, it says, thou shalt not be a seeker of fortune telling, like a psychic, right? That's in the Christian Bible. So that's where I think they get a little spooky. But also the very first words of your Bible is thou shalt not judge. And it all goes back to understanding where we are, how the frequencies work, and how we could utilize them to heal our body. I did it. My story, I've already told it with Dr. Rife. I did it. I was able to get to it when it was in a black market situation. I'll admit it. But I wanted to try something because the big pharma has failed me and failed me and failed me because I didn't understand frequency work and frequency value and how every ailment in my body has a different frequency code. Wow. So those different frequency codes create a fundamental of us actually healing our own bodies. No, I am not a licensed scientist. No, I am not a licensed nurse. No, I am not a licensed doctor, but I am a licensed certified energetic healer, and I am a certified Reiki practitioner. I am also a certified light therapist. Right? So those three things and my own studies and my own degrees have created me to be aware of some of the most healing superpowers our earth today can give us. And it's right underneath our noses. We just have to go back to basics. But greed and ambition causes our basics to be fogged. And when that happens, and then you start subliminally convincing the brain, right, that in this era, in this time, it is nothing more than big pharma. And then it started with the wars because of everybody getting sick, and they wanted to inoculate our soldiers. And and our soldiers are the first ones to get inoculations. Did you know that? We get to be the dummies for the United States. So the inoculations that the military demands the enlistees to get, the people on the outside get them almost a year later. Huh. And that's something. So we need to vibe high, right? Because when we vibe high, we don't get sick. When we vibe high and we get our pH to where we need it to be, it helps us prevent all kind of viruses and all kind of bacterias. But we're working with our soldiers today, and we're working with all of those who have PTSD, especially, or a TBI, right? Traumatic brain injury. Because these little peoples, these have special little neurons of the brain that we need to reconnect. Because sometimes the exhaustion levels of our TBIs and PTSD, or sometimes our thwarting of our anger, or sometimes when we see red, okay, those who have that, they'll know, see in red, we can't get out of our way. So let's fix it. How do we fix it? Well, we have to go all the way back, and we can use frequencies to connect the neurons to go all the way back. That will alleviate PTSD and TBI. I want to show you something. I want to read you a couple of things and then we're going to take a break, and then I'm going to put something up on the screen. So a lot of people go, MJ, I don't understand what you're talking about, frequencies. I'm going to read. It says frequency is the rate at which a sound wave vibrates, measured in hertz. A higher frequency means a faster vibration, which we perceive as a higher pitch, and vice versa. So they're talking frequencies of the ear column as well, right? So we can hear, how many people can hear a dog whistle? Now that's a frequency, okay? Dog whistles are a frequency to control the canine world, right? That's that part of that fairy world, not really us. I mean, superhumans can probably hear it. And there are some people who probably have no wax in their ears who can hear it. I'm not one of them. And I don't know how many of you are out there who can do that. But let me tell you, if you can do it, good on you, because that means you reign in a high frequency. So I want to read something else to you. Total frequency refers to the specific frequency at the rate sound is most prominent, contributing to the overall tonality of that sound and of that healing wave. Now, you probably heard sine wave, alpha wave, beta wave, gamma wave, delta wave, all these waves, right? You hear about them. You hear about them in radios. You hear about them all over the place. But there's a special frequency. It's called the Rife frequency. And those frequencies are a combination of all of these tones. Dr. Rife, Nikola Tesla, and our beautiful, beautiful Einstein developed something, and they were working on it way back when. And Einstein's famous quote about the healing frequency is called spooky action at a distance. It refers of his concerns about the implications of quantum entanglement frequencies, especially its seemingly instantaneous connection between entangled particles, regardless of the distance separating them. Wow. 1930s, 1920s, Nikola Tesla, Dr. Rife, and Albert Einstein were trying to heal the masses. As you are well aware of today, about those masses of people, then they have to pass it through the FDA boards. Then they have to pass it through the government, the big pharma, and all those money greedy people. Guess what happened to the spooky action at a distance? You guessed it. And I hear my birds. So you know what that means? That means we are going to be taking a break. Yes, Ozzy. So frequencies basically run the world. You are absolutely correct, my friend. They do run the world, and we don't even realize it. We're just one little particle. We're going to take a break, and we will be back, and we're going to figure it out because I got a chart for you like you know tomorrow. So let's go and let's do a brave young soldier this morning, because we're going to be brave today. Today, everybody out there listening is going to be brave. We'll be right back. I'm MJ. Listen to mbradio.us on the world of conscious positive thinking.
Whatever happened to the brave young soldier? He was a good friend of mine. They say as he died, he never once cried, lying with his brothers there by his side. At 19 years old, he was sent off to war, not really sure what he was fighting for. So he fights for what's behind him and his brothers beside him. Together they'll weather the storm. 9 long months later and he's still alive. Fought several long battles you shouldn't have survived. Then the IED exploded as the ambush unfolded. He laid there bleeding as his brothers all died. Whatever happened to the brave young soldier? He was a good friend of mine. They say as he died, he never once cried, lying with his brothers there by his side. Reinforcements arrived in the nick of time. Old Doc had found him and called in the nightline. He awoke in the hospital, they patched all the holes. Too bad they couldn't fix the ones in his soul. And 16 years later he locks all the doors, unable to find anything worth living for. His family has left him, he feels society rejects him. With a bottle and a pistol, he falls to the floor. to the brave old veteran. He was a good friend of mine. They say as he died, he sat there and cried, with only his memories sitting there by his side. Brothers and sisters, we can't lose this war. Have we forgotten what the hell we fought for? Pick up the phone, don't knock on the door. 22 too many, we must carry on, fighting these battles until they are won. We know that we walk on the edge of a knife, but one simple call can save a life. Whatever happened to the brave old veteran? He was a good friend of mine.
That was beautiful. A brave young soldier. And we will go ahead and highlight his beautiful words on this post today. And we're going to hashtag him so he gets the credit. What a beautiful song. And again, the brave. Remember that song's words, the brave. Because I'm going to put a little chart up that David Hawkins connected all of this together. It's going to blow your mind. It's going to help every single one of you with TBIs, PTSD, altered traumas. You watch how we twist this today. And maybe we can find more smiles coming through this beautiful spring season here. Okay, let's get back to it. Before we left, we were talking about Albert Einstein with the relativity of spooky, right? So as we keep going, there was a gentleman I just talked to you about. His name was Royal Raymond Rife. Genius of his time. Genius. The man was born in May in Nebraska in 1888. Look at those eights, baby. 888. You know what all those eights are? They are infinities. Eights are considered the infinite number because there is no beginning and there is no ending. It is infinite. And he was born in 1888. So all you numerology people out there, connect the dots. It's quite something. And he was born May 16th. That was my dad's birthday, May 16th. Isn't that funny? And May's our Tauruses. What are Tauruses? Notorious. The controller. So if you listened last week, and I'm really sorry about that, we have like 3 different posts about you have to watch all 3 sequences. Please watch the earlier one, then the middle. Okay, because at some point we're going to put them all together for you. But anyway, we were talking last week about personality matrices. Look at the date of this gentleman, May 16th, 1888. He is a Taurus under the astrologies of the numerologies of the eights of infinite numbers. Means he's a controller, right? It also means that he was privy to being an analyst, right? You can see that, like Einstein, Tesla, they're all your analyst people, right? That's the matrix personality because they dig in and research to the nitty gritty possible, right? So Mr. Rife had a really challenging time. He died in 1971, but in the mid 30s and 40s, he hooked up with Albert Einstein and he hooked up with Elon. And he says, listen, he was known for his microscopes. And I'm going to read to you a little bit about him. Rife was known for microscopes which he claimed could observe live microorganisms with a magnification considered impossible for his time. There was no way this literature could even be fundamentally correct. For the consideration for impossible for his time, it was also for the oscillating beam ray, the invention, but nobody could see it. They called him foolish. They called him preposterous, that it's impossible to see this. This is why Royal Raymond hooked up with Albert Einstein. He could understand it, but he couldn't explain it. It was there. He saw it. He saw the entanglement, right? He saw it. The quantum physics entanglement. Wow. So 100 years ago, they knew this. Hence, Tesla's theory 100 years ago. Now we have your cars, your Teslas. 100 years it took them because our government refused to allow the healing. Why? Because everybody, the doctors would lose money, the insurances would lose money, the big pharma would lose money. You know, sometimes our RFK, and I'm not going to get into politics here, but our governments play a major important part of us. Major important. Frequencies truly beyond. You can have any higher governmental institution you want, and frequencies will dominate every single one of them. I promise you. But the problem is you are subliminally brainwashed, just like the military and debriefs brainwash, right? You get to be brainwashed, just like the movie theaters. Did you realize in the movie theaters back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, then they put a band to it? In the middle of the movie, they would subliminally, one little screen that was so quick that your eyes couldn't see it, but your mind could. And they would say, you need popcorn. You need a soda. You need a hot dog. How many people go to the movie theater still today and have to have a hot dog, popcorn, or something from that counter? They used to subliminally put in. Now, because they became aware, right? The people became aware, they put a stop to it. So movie theaters are no longer allowed to put subliminal captions inside the movie to further their monies. Isn't that amazing? Now, that was a visual distraction of a subliminal neuron of the brain, right? Crazy, right? Then all they have to do is put that little butter smell and bam, our ego and our judgment and our persona of who we are being controlled by that subliminal frequency neuron pattern. And now we go right back. And here we are. We go get that popcorn and we come down and we are happy and content. Subliminal messaging, subliminal frequencies will do it a lot. We don't know that. A lot of people were like, no, MJ, nope. I got to tell you, you're wrong. It happens more than you know. It's a huge phenomena and it's beautiful. Now, I'm going to read you something else. With the oscillating beam ray invention, which he thought could treat various ailments by devitalizing disease organisms using radio waves. Although he came to the collaboration with other scientists, I told you who they were, Einstein and Tesla, doctors and inventors and our government of the epoch, and his findings were published in newspapers and scientific journals alike, the Smithsonian Institute Annual Report in 1944. They were all later rejected by the American Medical Association of Cancer Society and mainstream science. They were rejected. Damn. Do you know how healed we could be today if we didn't put that inside of their hands and they didn't have the choice? Reich supporters continued to claim that impulses of electromagnetic frequency can disable cancerous cells and other microorganisms responsible for diseases. Most of these claims have no scientific research to back them up, hence Einstein's spooky of relativity theory. It works, but it can't be explained. Now, if you watch The Big Bang Theory with particular physicists like Sheldon Cooper, that is exactly what they are trying to do. There's a little snicker and there's a little happiness when we in our spiritual world go, let's go, theoretical particle physicists. We are counting on you to connect our dots to the highest universe frequency there is to heal. Right? Wow. People say you have to believe to heal. You do. Your mindset is the biggest mindset that you have. It is the biggest mindset that we all have. So when we decide that we are no longer in pain, that we are sourcing the highest positive thing, our frequency, our electronic magnetic frequencies increase within our bodies because we have positive consciousness. When we have negative consciousness, we are sad, we're depressed, we're in pain, we are suicidal, we're angry, we're belittling, we're sarcastic in a negative way. We are all of those frequencies. And those frequencies play a major part within our body. In studies of holistical medicines and the theory of spooky relativity and frequency denomination and trying to put them together to reach the ultimate universe, which is Father, Mother, God. And our people are like, oh, and then you have the atheists who are like, there's no such thing as Father, Mother, God. Well, then atheists, how about you believe in the highest frequencies of the universe to heal the body? Because then you would pray to get healed. You would ask for the highest frequencies of the universe, right? See how that works? We all balance. We all have the I am presence, whether you choose to be that part of the world or not. We are all alike and we will all heal alike. And that is so beautiful. Folks, I have to take another break, but when we come back, I'm going to connect the dots a little bit further for you. I'm going to show you just how that PTSD and TBIs can help just by frequency. I'm MJ. You're watching MBRadio.us, where veterans always have a voice. We'll be right back, folks. Here's my birdies.
Your lesson, yes, is written in stone.
I'll never know until I walk into the light.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard, MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Welcome, Quack.
Program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
The web at mbradio.com.
Love third class, walk into the light. And that's exactly what we're doing. It's light. It is the highest light that even, it astonishes some of the best scientists in the world. So back to Royal Raymond Rife, RRR, the 888s. Figure that out. So he ends up explaining to the United States government how the process works. So they give the gentleman, because cancer was one of the things he was trying to heal at the time. And he was trying to blow the viruses up. There is a DNA heal, a DNA restore, a DNA repair, and there is a DNA kill on all of his frequencies. So he was explaining this. He also explains that if you don't know this, anytime you catch a virus, bacteria, or any type of disease, it lays dormant within calcium. It turns into these calcium deposits. There's more to it than that, but it's just the simple version. So, and they lay somewhere in your body. So it's a history. If somebody was to do a microscopic anatomy on the body, it would end up seeing all of these deposits, and it could tell you the viruses that they had to go through in that lifetime, or the viruses in which they had. Hence, that's why when they start digging up the tombs, the archaeologists, and they give them to the forensics archaeology, they can tell you that he had polio or he had cancer, and that's how they died. That is so amazing. And guess what they're using? They're using the microscopes of Royal Raymond Rife. They are using the frequency patterns of Royal Raymond Rife. But yet, here you go, 1994, a lot of people were leaving the United States to get treated in Europe. Why? Why were they doing that? They knew that cancer in Europe had a higher success rate in treatment. What were they doing? Where were they going? Some people said they were going to France. Some people said they were going to Switzerland. Some people said they don't know, just to Europe, that they had to figure it out. Well, when the United States gave Raymond Rife, Dr. Rife, a 5-stage cancer patient, he told them they would die because these little particles that are in the body, if you do not expose them, you will cause the body to go septic. He knew that. So did Tesla. So did Einstein. They knew this. The government, even in the 40s and 50s, blackballed him. They blackballed him. They told him that the only way that they would patent it and allow it for FDA treatment within the big pharma circuit is if he could cure a stage 5 cancer patient. You can buy the book and read it yourself. I'm not a history teacher here. This is my quick Cliff Notes, by the way. So he ends up trying to flush the person's body with heavy IVs, heavy waters, fluids, to try to flush the body. But the body did end up passing to septicemia. Folks, sometimes when we listen to doctors, we do exactly what they say because they're supposed to know best, right? Did you know that most of your doctors that you get treated by today are conditioned to follow the rules? They don't step out. There's a TV program called The Brilliant Minds. It's on TV today. Same concept. He doesn't like to follow those rules. Why? Because man created these rules. Man is not 100% correct. Ever, 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 never. You are not God. Hence, things that you see today have changed. Theories have changed. Protocols have changed. We are living in the world of change. We could have been living in a higher world of change a year ago had man and our government didn't step in. Like everything in life, when you do an open heart surgery, there is a risk of death, and you sign it. You have a risk of death for open heart surgery. Well, Dr. Rife told them these people could possibly die of septicemia if you do this. He was right. It was too much for the body to remove. Once that happens, it's no longer good. So when you're using frequencies to heal, I cannot tell you, drink water. We are 70% water in our body. When we get dehydrated, our systems go wacky. They said, if you don't believe in frequency, how can a frog sit in water and croak and do his harming and watch the waves of the water go around? And you see the little ripples just because he's croaking, and the ripples of that frequency go through the water. Any boater out there, you know electromagnetic frequency radio waves will destroy your electronics on your boat if you don't put the right aluminum tabs on your motors or on your boat. You can believe that, but you can't believe in the relativity of spooky that has been around for 100 years. Why don't you believe in it? Because man has conditioned you not to believe in it. So if it was gone through and that was a protocol given to you by our government, by man, by everybody else, you would believe in it. And then you would study it in school and you would believe in it. But because of one judgment of one man, you didn't get to study it and believe in it and understand it. Some of the biggest scientists in the world can't understand it. I can prove, and I can bring them on, my cancer 4 patients, my animals who all of a sudden have Lyme's disease, and you give them frequencies and they turn themselves around so quickly it would make your heart think. They're like, oh no, well, you got a steroid injection too. Really? Okay. All of these are parts and parcel. I am one of them since 2015. I gave up on Big Pharma, on my ailments. Not all. We need to have the diagnostics. You can't do this without Western medicine's diagnostics. Western medicine's diagnostics is one of the most amazing things there are, because you can't heal something you don't know what's happening. So we have to have that diagnostic. And then that just makes everything so much better. So here we go. Now we're going to get down to more of the nitty gritty. Okay. So we are going to now come back in, and a gentleman by the name of David Hawkins wrote, "What is the hidden cost of being a warrior? A soldier's emotional battlefield." He wrote this, and this is what was given to me. And I find it amazing how he connected the conscious positive thought theory to go forward, to map it and make it so quick that all of a sudden you're like, wow, look at those frequencies. And then you can look on any chamber chart you want on sign frequency patterns, and you can discuss it yourself. You can Google it. But we're gonna take a break, and then we're gonna come back. I'm gonna start with how he wrote it, and I'm gonna read it, and then we're gonna have the chart. What if I told you that as a soldier, you are conditioned to exist within only a narrow band of human consciousness? As a soldier, anger, pride, and courage, right? The 3 top notches to make you a beautiful soldier. Look at that. Look now into yourself. Do you agree with that? The perfect soldier, anger, pride, and courage. On that note, we're gonna go take a real quick break here. We're gonna get you some. We're gonna go to Fairway Travels, and we're gonna do a little bit of DJ Claudio, and we'll be right back. Okay, hold on. Let's go to Fairway Travel.
It's time for a vacation, and Fairway Travels is here to share great specials for you to choose from. Discover the charm and features of one of Sandals' 16 all-inclusive, luxury-included, adults-only resorts, or a family-friendly beaches destination in the Caribbean. Or how about a couples resort in Jamaica? If cruising's your preference, get Thunderstroke aboard Carnival Cruise Lines or set sail on an award-winning Royal Caribbean ship. Join Virgin Voyages now for a wonderful adults-only sailing. It doesn't matter if you choose to travel by plane, train, automobile, cruise ship, or rowboat, we can help you reach your dream destination. Contact Fairway Travels today at 228-365-1012. That's 228-365-1012. Or email bookitnow247@gmail.com. Fairway Travels, where your journeys keep satisfying.
Tune in to Claddo's Cacophony of Sound every Saturday night from 9 p.m. to 12 a.m. Eastern on Military Broadcast Radio at mbradio.us or on Twitch at DJ_Claddo. MBR, giving veterans a voice.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard, MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Welcome, Quack.
Program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
The web at mbradio.us.
Okay. Yes, Fairway Travel. So let me just tell you, they're having an MBR cruise in November. So anybody who wants to hook up with the MBR DJs and podcasters and gamers, they're all going to be on a cruise with Fairway Travel. So if you're interested, hook up with Ken, and we call him Red here on Freedom of Struggles on the MB radio station, and get with him. It'll be a fun cruise. All of our beautiful DJs and podcasters will be there, and they're going to have a great time, a real good time. So get going with that. And always on DJ Claudio. He is expert in his music. Just keep listening to him. You can go to our MB radio, or you can go to TikTok. You can go to really a whole bunch of different other things, and you will find him there. So what we're going to do next is I want to put up the chart. So you're not going to see me. You're going to hear me. So let's see if I can't add this to the stage. Get rid of this. Nope, get this to the stage. Okay. All right. So what we see on here, I want you to look at the chart. See, in the military, we're trained to embody courage. You see the courage all the way down there? It's at 200. That's an amplitude frequency. It's at 200. And the associated emotional state with that 200 is affirmation, and the view of life is feasible. Okay? To charge forward despite a fear, we have to have that courage. Now, I want you to look at pride. Pride is right below courage. It's at 175. It's the unyielding drive to win. You have to win, to never back down, to keep pressing forward. So there are right there. See that? You have a 200 frequency, and then you come down again to 175 frequency. See how it's lowering? And then when the stakes go high, all of our warriors, they're harnessing then in anger. Look at the anger. The anger frequency is 150. A controlled aggression that makes us effective in combat. Anger. You have to have courage and then anger. Look at the two that are high and the low. Those two are, and then the pride of the country, knowing what you're doing it for, right? And you'll be like, that's the perfect soldier, the courage, the pride, and they have the anger. Right there, look where that lies, the yellow fields. Look at those yellow fields. So anybody who is holistic in nature and understand chakras, look at that. Right there in the yellow. That yellow field is going to dramatically connect to the solar plexus. Now, our solar plexus, they run higher. They run in the 400s, our solar plexus. And in the 500s, they're running those gamuts. Again, our solar plexus are our skeletons. They are our breadbasket of torture. They are what holds us back. Why? Because we stack everything inside of our breadbasket. And that is our solar plexus. But that's where those will come from. So any type of healing center and any type of person, they probably have stomach issues. They have ulcers. They have IBS. They have colonic issues. They have gallbladder issues. Pancreas issues. Think about under the heart and above the belly button. All those organs, spleen, kidneys. That is what is going to be affected by the warrior, right? Because that's where we stuck. That's where we stick our fear. That's where we stick everything. Okay, then what happens? Because now here's the problem. As a young developing male, now I'm going to give you a quote, and this is from David Hawkins again, who put this map of consciousness for it. As a young developing male brain is at its most impressionable during military training. The neural pathways of trust, because now our soldiers are going to trust our government. And that's at what? 250. That's trust. It's satisfactory. It's also neutrality. Love, because we have the love for our family, friends, our country. Our love carries us to 500 and peace at 600. The very frequencies that allow for deep human connection and emotional regulation are overridden by the survival instincts drilled within each and every person as a warrior. If you are a service to others job, you don't get the love, the peace, and the trust. Because you are conditioned by man, yet here we go, man has conditioned you to believe that all you need is courage, pride, and anger. So after years of service, many veterans leave the battlefield, but they just remain trapped in those lower emotional states. They struggle to connect with the family, to feel the joy, or to navigate a world that just operates with acceptance, love, and reasonable levels where they were never taught to access. Why? Because at the ripe age of 18, where the frontal lobe is no longer a valuable source, now what? We can't even fathom it. Now we have PTSD. Now we can't get out of ourselves because we are losing the fundamentals of trust, love, and peace because we have been subliminally brainwashed into doing the service of others, into the series of the warriors, into courage, pride, and anger. And now, by man, you have conditioned the neurons of the brain to be just that. Pretty sad, right? So after so many years, it's still there. And now we're fighting TBIs with PTSD with no acceptance, love, or any other reasons, mechanisms that we can give because it was never taught to the brain by man. They don't want you to feel that way. You cannot fight a battle that way on the war field because that's how they think. This isn't about weakness. And if anybody out there states that this is weakness, I'd be very upset. I'm going to put my You know what? I'm going to leave it because I need you to see the drastic. I'm going to leave that up. I know it's a little bit blurry, but I'm going to leave it up. I know you can't see me, but I'm still here. And you can hear me, hopefully. So, not like last week. So the path forward, you have to now look at the chart. You're going to move from anger, pride, and courage. Okay. And now you're going to go to acceptance, love, and joy. And look at the color that they're in. They're in greens and blues. Well, in order to get to the blue, because that's our throat chakra, we need to clear the heart chakras. Because our heart is filled with guilt. It's filled with not having acceptance, not having the trust, not having any of those that we have normally been exposed to. We don't have it. We trust nobody out on the front line. Sometimes we even question some of the decisions that are made for us on the front line. I know some of you out there are shaking your head because that map of consciousness is very much directed into the willfulness of every warrior out there. Self-awareness is our first step. Recognizing that while in anger, pride, and courage serve the life purpose, they may no longer serve us in everyday life. So if our PTSDs, people out there, are still in anger, pride, and courage, that is the biggest problem. And sometimes our counselors, our physical counselors, won't teach it because our physical counselors are trying to cure masses, especially when it comes to our veterans on the front line. You have no idea what might give one person PTSD and might not give another one. Just being away from their home and their environment can cause a humongous PTSD. And there's the anger, there's the resentment, right? There's the grief, there's the loneliness. Bottoming those lower vibrations yet again. Why? Why is that? You would think, you know what? There are protectors. There are archangels. There are Templars. They're there. There are protecting angels. Why? Why are we in that mainstream? Because if not, your life would fear. Your life would be not what it is today. They would cower. They would run because they didn't have the courage. So they have to amplify you with that. Sometimes over the speakers of the intercoms when I was in, I don't know if they can do it anymore, but they would drill those frequency patterns. You can hear it in the sirens. You can hear it in the bells to get up. You can hear it numerous times when those sirens went off. They were in those lower frequencies and they were in the frequencies of the 200s. They were in the frequencies of 150 to maintain your courage, pride, and anger. They encourage it. Subliminally, that's what every soldier went through. I don't care where you are. Those tones are always the same tone frequency. Notice you don't have a high piercing siren on a submarine or in a tank. You don't have, those noises are constantly the same frequency pattern. Get it? Frequency. 200, 175, 150. These are very low frequencies. Yes, you're very grounded into earth, but you are not doing anything besides having courage, pride, and anger. Self-awareness is all of us. Self-awareness is the first step. Just like AA. I'm an alcoholic. Well, guess what? I'm a PTSD vet. I'm a TBI vet. I am a warrior with a lot of low frequency pattern. When you honor that and you can understand it, we can turn it around. Recognizing that while anger, pride, and courage served your purpose, again, it doesn't serve the purpose today. Courage served the purpose, right? But when you're out of the military, now you have to change these frequencies. And they don't know how. Because nobody explained it to them. Because they didn't believe in the theoretical science of physics, the spooky theory of relativity. Because if they believed in it, it would follow the map of consciousness to the frequency patterns if they believed in it. But they can't believe in it because the majority of the people's consciousness has been driven by man. You can't do this without this. You can't do this without this. And it's changing our ways. It is changing our patterns. The battlefield mindset doesn't easily translate into civilian world. And that's where our beautiful soldiers get stuck. That's where our beautiful service to others, our paramedics, our firefighters, our police officers, all of these beautiful, beautiful people, this is where it gets stuck. And some of them who are not in the military, they still go through. Think about the whistles that you blow, cops. Think about the sirens of the fire trucks, paramedics, EMTs. What frequency do they range in? Courage. 200. Courage. Taking pride in what they do to help and support and healing of others. It's encouraged. But these people need to have an extreme balance. And when you have an extreme balance, that means you can go above a 200 frequency, right? All right. Yeah. It all plays retrospect and it all plays part. The battlefield mindset doesn't easily translate. I'm telling you again and again and again. Physical practices, breath work. We had a show about breath work. Reiki, healing frequencies of Reiki, PEMF therapy, cold plunges, cold lasers, and trail running help reset our nervous systems that have been programmed. It also helps shift the body of the fight or flight mode into the state of calm and healing. Okay? But we have to get into it. We have to put our bodies outside of a 200 frequency. We have to let go. We have to encourage of acceptance. We have to encourage the love. These frequencies are high. They're in the 500s. They're in the 600s. This is where we offset. Guess what? All those pains and aches and all those visits to a psychiatrist because of your pains and aches and you can't get over it. Ask yourself, is your counselor that you are seeing both physical and metaphysical characteristics into the new age of healing? If they are not, maybe you might want to consider finding one who can help you. Maybe you might want to stay with your counselor for the physical and accept new age help as a different modality. After 35 years, I couldn't heal my body. I was done. I was done with Big Pharma. I was done with everything. I went a different way. And when I learned about Dr. Wright frequencies, and I learned about Einstein's spooky theory, and I learned about Tesla's connection to unknown, but it works into the depth of the black void. Now, guess what? I'm starting to heal. I'm starting to change. And I'm starting to come out of the battlefield mindset. And I know each and every one of you can do it. You can. It is there. With that being said, I have to go back to break. And I think this time, I think what we should play, you're in the back end of the studio. How about the best patriotic song? You can't spell hero without her. I think that's a great one. MJ, here we go.
Signed up to fight for freedom. What a price you had to pay. Picture in her helmet, missing family every day. Your Lady Liberty, dressed like G.I. Jane. Some scars we'll never see. She will never be the same. She's a mother, she's a daughter. She's a sister and a friend. Standing tall in that uniform until the very end. When Uncle Sam called, she signed that line to serve. 'Cause you can't spell hero without her. On that old dusty base with the meadows that shine. She's been to hell and back for the stars and the stripes. Your Lady Liberty, dressed like G.I. Jane, and some scars we'll never see, and she will never be the same. She's a mother, she's a daughter, she's a sister and a friend, standing tall in that uniform until the very end. When Uncle Sam called, she signed that line to serve, 'cause you can't spell hero without her. Yeah, yes. For the ones that didn't make it, we will pause and then we cry. We can still see their smile in every sunrise. She's a mother, she's a daughter, she's a sister and a friend, standing tall in that uniform until the very end. When Uncle Sam called, she signed that line to serve, 'cause you can't spell hero without her. 'Cause you can't spell hero without her.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard, MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Welcome, Quack.
Program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
The web at mbradio.com.
Okay. So we were talking right before the break that some of the physical responses, such as breath work, Reiki, PEMF, cold therapy systems, cold plunges, all of these create a higher frequency pattern within our physiology and our physical body, right? So this is an extra help, whether you believe it or not, to be the case. If you don't believe it, it's not going to work, right? They always say the power of the mind. The power of the mind is your biggest healer power that you have. And you are that special. You are that superhuman that to think will be done, right? What do they say in the scriptures, right? No matter which religion. Our will shall be done, right? The will is the strongest mind power center we have besides faith. And that's number one, mind power center. They all have frequency values, and they all contribute to creating the connection within the neurons of our brain, believe it or not. Connecting is the key to success. Your true strength comes from vulnerability, from surrounding ourselves with people who operate at a higher frequency. So when people think about some of the people you gravitate to, right? And so people who have higher frequency value, you will understand there are some people that they have done nothing to you, but every time you get near them, you get a headache. There's a headache going on. They could even be on TV. And what do? You turn the channel. You have a headache. You turn the station. They could just be a podcaster. They could be a DJ. They could be a sports announcer. They could be a news person. They could be your friend, your family member, your coworker. They could be anybody. It's the frequency either in their tone or the energy that they are exploiting. If you remain within people who have a low frequency, right? Think of your squad, your troop. You are taught to be the same thing. Pride, courage, and anger. So nobody in there is probably on the front line going to have higher than a 200 frequency. Or those whose trust service to others, your police officers. The situation at hand is less than a 200 frequency is what we're trying to explain. True strength comes from the vulnerability, from surrounding ourselves with people who operate at a higher frequency, mentors, veterans who have transitioned successfully out of the military or communities focused on personal growth. Guess what, folks? You're right here on mbradio.us with the voices of veterans who do exactly this. You are hearing how we have come out. You are hearing from those who are in. That's what this is. So if we can go back to the chart, I'm going to show you another connection for all of those people. Forgiveness is your turning point. Moving from pride, look at pride, okay? It's at 175 hertz or frequencies to the acceptance, which is 350. It requires forgiving ourselves first and then forgiving of others. Father, forgive my part. Father, forgive those who have lost their ways. If we cannot forgive every negative moment that we had a traumatic event, we will stay in a 200 frequency or lower. Because that word acceptance is in our heart. That means you meant it. It's within the heart. Now, our heart frequency is actually in the 600s. But to get there, we have what we call the 12 petals. And every one of those hold a frequency of surrendering back into heart frequency. So, not everything in life is a battle that must be won. So, warriors, service to others who are always in a stressful situation. Not every trauma or not every event is a life battle. We don't have to fight for everything. We can let some things go. So that courage to take on every instant. How many people do you know that have that resilience of having to be wrong and strong and keep fighting the wrong and strong? Why? Because they have been conditioned and the ego won't let go. That is why. So sometimes surrendering the fight is the greatest victory, our greatest victory. Right? And that's all. So when we look at this chart, it's all there. It truly, every instance that we go through to heal is in this chart. Purpose is everything, folks. Intention and purpose. Finding that new mission, whether it's helping other veterans or supporting a cause or simply being present for family, shifts the mindset from that fight and flight to the survivor of peace. To live, then to serve. Okay? Daily gratitude and joy and all those practices are powerful tools. There's not just one that can heal. I didn't. And I'm here to tell you I flipped my patterns. It was tough. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it wasn't tough. But when I found the map of consciousness and I found the unconsciousness awareness of man, wow, it was a complete and different source. It was completely beyond anything that we could think. So some people who don't even know, if you're listening and you weren't in the military or you're not a service to others or a first responder, we still have traumatic events. Maybe our own parents only taught us courage, pride, and anger. Well, then they were the bullies on the playground. That's how low of a frequency those bullies were. They were the people who were always, every time you turn around in school, they were always in fights. They were always blasphemy and they were always yelling and having issues and hiccups. The bully, the roughhouser, right? The anger. They had such anger issues. Why? Because it was subliminally given to them at birth. Since birth, somebody within their realm created these patterns, created these frequency values. So a child who we deemed the bully in school has been subliminally suppressed to these frequencies, sadly. whether it was in their home life, their ancestral lineage, whether it was in their babysitter, whether it was in their daycare, whether it was in their surrounding on their home street where they lived. I don't know. But these are those conditions. So this should make you very aware of how to help and assist your friends and family to gain a higher frequency pattern. Okay? So simple habits like daily gratitude, journaling, acts of kindness, finding beauty in small amounts, and that help rewire our minds. Rewire the mind. Wow, MJ, does your Reiki is a rewire Reiki? Yeah! You see how all of this comes back into play? It's beautiful. It is a beautiful wave that we can see for ourselves. And everything comes back into play. Now, because healing isn't about forgetting who we are, it's about learning who we can become. So yes, talk about your emotions and talk how you're feeling to your counselors, to your friends. Talk about it. Don't need to yell about it. Talk about it. Now, if you have to yell, now we're experiencing what? We're experiencing the anger, which is down at 150 frequencies. That's when we start to yell because we're angry. We're angry that we lived through it. We're angry. So let's get out of the anger part. And again, how do we do this? We practice with our tools. Training the brain for love and joy takes more effort than it does to train it to be angry. It takes a lot of effort to turn the cheek. It takes a lot of effort to say, no, not today, not today. I'm not doing this today. Does that all make sense? Okay, we're going to take a little bit of break here and then we'll be back. You know where we're going, right? We're going to Spain because, you know, we've never been there. This is MJ on the world of conscious positive thinking right here on the beautiful station nbradio.us, where all veterans have a voice. We'll be right back, folks.
Well, I've never been to Spain, but I kinda like the music. See, the ladies are insane there, and they sure know how to use it. They don't abuse it, never gonna lose it. I can't refuse it. Well, I've never been to England, but I kinda like the Beatles. Ooh, I headed for Las Vegas, only made it out to Needles. Can you feel it? Must be near it. Feels so good, feels so good. Well, I've never been to heaven, but I've been to Oklahoma. Oh, they tell me I was born there, but I really don't remember. In Oklahoma, not Arizona. What does it matter? What does it matter? Well, I've never been to Spain, but I kinda like the music. Say the lady They don't abuse it, never gonna lose it. I can't refuse it. They don't abuse it, never gonna lose it. I can't refuse it.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard, MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Welcome, Quack.
Program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
The web at mbradio.com.
Okay. So, one of the comments I absolutely loved. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. So, one of the comments that I got was on a tonal frequency versus complex sound. I go, okay. So, yes, frequency waves come in tonal, right? So when you hear people talk about sound journeys, right? What are all these sound journeys? It is the frequency wave pattern hitting the auditory to heal the functions of the body. Yes, different tones. We got done listening to sirens. We got listening to beeps in our tanks and our planes. These are all grounding lower vibrational frequencies. When we do sound baths, most really good sound healers will take you from the lower octagons, and by the time you're done, you are crescending all the way high to the highest frequency the body can handle. Okay, what happens then? So what happens then is the body sources that energy, that frequency, that vibration that's coming in to help assist in balancing whatever is misaligned, whatever is depleted, whatever is not in center. And so that's when you hear. Now, what happens on some sound frequencies, people get very agitated on certain sounds. Ooh, MJ, that's an awareness. There's the sign. So if you're getting agitated to listen to certain musics, ask yourself why. Why? Where is it triggering? What has it triggered, right? It has triggered something within. Close your eyes and breathe into that sound. Breathe into where does it not feel comfortable? Is it in my toe that I don't feel comfortable? Is it in my head? Is it in my heart? Where is it? Because sound journeys are to heal. So if something is off, it's incorporating those mechanisms of waves, those frequency sound waves to do it. Now we have other frequency patterns like we were talking, the gamma waves, beta waves. All these other waves are not so much as an audible tonation wave. They are more the frequency sine waves. They're air waves that people can't see, right? So they are undertones, or they are example of complex sounds or measuring tonalities to the frequencies. Because remember, a frequency is the rate of which some of a sound wave vibrates. You can't hear a dog whistle. Most of us can't unless you're the superhuman ear, right? And there are superhuman ears, like there's superhuman brains, or there's bilateral gifted brains. Woo! Can you imagine a bilateral gifted brain? I look at people like that and just are in awe. They're walking encyclopedias. The frequencies of energies really cramp their style because most of those geniuses have no empathy frequencies. They're missing that component. They're missing that emotion side of the brain. So those frequencies would really hurt them. Like they can't decide what is going on. It's irritating. They're not sad. They're just irritated because it can't feel it. Blueprint changing. How do we change that? Well, as man conditions all of us, we condition our brain because we are in control. Not our brain, us, our soul. Our soul is in control, our higher self. So you have to have the highest faith, the highest will, and those 12 power mind centers in order to say, nope, if that frequency bothers me, heal it. Because don't yell at somebody else for playing it. It's on you. Get it? Okay. Same as our emotions. Now we're going to go to the second frequency. You just did tone, the noise, you can hear it, our senses. Now we're going to visually see something. Do we visually see sound waves? No. Yes. I told you about the frog in the water who is croaking. Watch a frog sit on a lily pad in the water. And as he sits there, croaking, I'm going to hum, everybody hum. The vibrational pattern of humming within the body. You're not humming within the body. The internal bodies can hear you, but you're vibrating. Frequency. It's just that easy. Trying to get a baby to quiet when it's crying, hum. It's the frequency vibration that is settling the existence patterns of the frequency of consciousness. Okay. Witchcraft MJ. Just told you the science. The science. It's all about science. It really is. It's all about furthering our knowledge and furthering our neurons, furthering our scope of relativity theories. If we can't understand it, then it's not true. That's the demand of the human mind. We need to take that perception out. It doesn't work. The same as our soldiers. When you are subliminally for courage, pride, and anger, and we need to get to love, peace, balance, and harmony, we're at two different frequencies. We have some work to do. We have to now put back into our being the same that they stole from us when we enlisted. I say stole, that's a strong word. I understand, but it's the truth. Because you were subliminally toned into those three things. Every angle that you did from basic, actually, do you know that they play the songs? Our songs are sung in those lower frequencies. Every branch that you go into. Nothing is a high 3 or 400. Nothing. Because that's where you start. Testing. When you test, you're testing at a lower amplitude as well. So think about the ASVAB test. How well did you ace that? That's a frequency chart, right? That's a visual sight. So you're smelling. Your smell's on a different frequency level. Your smell encourages either you to be happy, sad. Did you know that? Because the smell waves of frequency have the same thing. Every sense that you have is controlled by frequency. So your 5 senses that they wanted to teach you in school also contain the frequency patterns. Did you know that? So think about the things that you smell that you don't like. Now let's find out why we don't like them, right? What happened that we didn't like them? What was a memory that you can remember in this lifetime? And if you don't remember anything in this lifetime, maybe you were too young to remember it. Maybe it was subliminally connected with your family, and your family from the get-go, you are not to like it. It's a bad thing. The only thing I can think of at the time as an example is a skunk, right? Skunks are taboo. They smell. They stink. Don't get sprayed. They'll burn your skin. They have the odor. Then You learn this growing up, especially if you grew up anywhere where in the woods or anywhere that had that animal, right? They're bad news. Growing up in Florida, this is an alligator. It's got to, conditioned repetition tells the child to strict the danger, right? So we conditioned by frequency. We conditioned the conscious pattern of the mind, again, manipulating subliminal by man, the theory. Now, if somebody didn't know about an alligator, didn't grow up by alligators, and they kind of saw it, they wouldn't have a fear unless they had seen an attack or had been attacked by themselves. You do not fear something you don't know nothing about unless you have no faith. If you don't have faith, then you have the fear of the unknown. See how that worked? Wow. It just goes right back. Constantly, always going right back to what we're targeting and what we're talking about. Let's go to touch, right? Everything that you touch has a frequency. Everything. There is nothing that is on this earth that doesn't have a frequency. A bottle, plastic bottle has frequency. Things you eat have frequencies. Bananas, because our organs have to have frequency. When your body no longer can handle the core frequency of 48, you now have cancer. You now have diseases. You now have different viruses or bacteria that you cannot heal in the body, and now you become deceased. When your frequency patterns are below a 48 hertz, you become susceptible, and that is your core. So we need to get our cores high, because those frequencies don't even deserve a chance in our beautiful physical bodies when we know already how to raise our core frequency now, right? Humming, people hum, people whistle. When you see people humming and whistling, you know their frequency is raised over a 200. Why? Because they're balancing the physiology of the chakras. They're balancing and giving the energy within the body. Humming, whistling. These are frequencies. These are frequent. Watch what we eat. Everything that we eat has a frequency pattern. Everything that we touch, everything that we sit on creates the frequency. Most of the stuff of Earth, grounding of Earth, is in the lows. Therefore, 17s are lower. Why? Because our Earth frequency is core. We have to root in. When we root in, we can only vibe from the top of our crown, which connects us to the Christ light, the I am presence. Or in the science terms, it connects us to the void. It connects us to the energetical spin of our universe as it spins. Isn't it funny the way our universe spins? And that beautiful centrifugal force is the same way that hurricanes come in on an opposite side effect. Have you ever noticed that? The awareness of signs and noticing how our Earth runs by science and by element form will create a positive wave for us to gain the courage to go beyond the anger and the pride. It'll go on to the love, to the peace, to the acceptance, right? And then we can hit that high frequency pattern, that 1000 frequency, where we are just in enlightenment. Before enlightenment on the other codes is going from 4th density chambers into the 5th density. That's even more science of the body. Creating a vibration. But what happens when you get too high? What happens when you start healing? Well, those around you, you might get new friends. Girl Scouts, we always used to say, make new friends, but keep the old. One is silver, but the other's always gold. Why? Because it was those lessons that you had to teach by the gold that allows us to create the silver. We have to learn our life lessons. We have to go through and understand. When we learn and we understand, then we create an abundance for ourselves, whether it's joy, happiness, love, healing, prosperity, right? Balance. That's what we want. We want that abundance. We want that abundance for everybody. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take another little quick breaky break here. And then when we come back, we're going to see if anybody has any questions, any of my back studio wants to ask, or anybody online. I am always here. I understand you're texting me, and I understand, but sometimes they can't see it online. So please put it online, because that world of online, you never know who you're helping when you help yourself, right? It's a healing center. I am MJ, and this is the world of conscious positive thinking right here on mbradio.us. So proud to be here. I think what we're going to do next is we're going to do To a Hero by Dallas Alexander, because he's another one of my faves. And then we're going to wrap up a little bit more, and then we'll exit. Here we go.
To a hero, I say, I hope to see you again on some sunny day. And to a hero, and the love you left behind, I'll try my best to pass it on till the end of my time. And to a hero, you're gone, but I have no doubt that you have made it home. taken way too soon. Over there in that dusky country, an Afghan afternoon, to a hero and the little one you left behind. I hope he grows up with your passion, I'm sure he will with time. And to a hero, a warrior through and through, you were taken way too early, what can we do? Well, we can try to keep your spirits alive, we can try to be nice, we can not take for granted all the beautiful things in our lives. We can be the change we want to see, and we can listen to the wind pass through the trees. We can speak the words we know are true for our heroes. This is what we can do. To all the heroes taken from our lives, at home or in those countries, fighting for what's right. Now we can do this for you and all your kin, and make this world a better place for your kids to grow up in. And we can try to be true, admit when we don't have a clue, and be there with the ones we love until our time is good and through. And we can be the change we want to see, and we can listen to the wind pass through the trees. We can speak the words we know are true for our heroes. This is what we can do. Yeah, we can try to keep your spirits alive, and we can try to be nice. We can not take for granted all the beautiful things in our lives. We can be the change we want to see, and we can listen to the wind pass through the trees. We can speak the words we know are true for our heroes. This is what we can do. Well, to a hero I say, I hope to see you again on some sunny day. All right.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard, MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Welcome, Quack.
Program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
The web at mbradio.com.
I'm back into a hero. What a beautiful, beautiful song. And yes, because we are talking about all of you service to others today who are struggling with TBIs or PTSD, are struggling with range of motions and being surrounded by guilt or being surrounded by other emotional frequencies that block us from healing, that make us want to suffer. And it's all about training our mind subliminally, naturally, and sourcefully. So that song in itself is a beautiful song. It's actually up in the 400s and raising the vibration to that hero. So thank you so much to Dallas Alexander. And maybe he doesn't even know that frequency did that, but his words and what he wanted to convey was all there. So I have another person who gave me a little pop-up, and they were like, but MJ, how does frequencies work when you are on medications? Same way. Medications are by frequency centers. They're healing. Now, if you ask the science big pharma world, they are isolated by multiple researches and how and what can actually heal or cure something. But as most of us know, if you don't take that metformin or you don't take an insulin injection, your blood sugar is going to go right back to being extremely low or extremely high, depending on which diabetes that you have, right? And you're either having hypo or hyper. So it's not healing it. It's, again, sticking a Band-Aid on it, which I believe in 1994, when they tried to introduce Rife into the United States again, it was kicked out again. A lot of people went, underground black market. Today, it is used, but I can't say as a healing mechanism. We're not allowed to say that. Even though you watch every single person, I came off 24 big pharmacy meds for my heart, for diabetes, for thyroidism, for spleen, for kidney disease, you name it, as an autoimmune person that was injected by a test. I had to find something. I hope that I encouraged you today to find something to heal you. Try an alternate way. There's Eastern medicine, holistic medicine. I'm not telling you that this is it, but I'm telling you this is the most quickest, easiest way, because even medicines have frequency. And if you know the medicines that you're on and you're tired of popping a pill every day, or worried that you didn't pop that pill and now how your body's going to react because now your ego is going to take over, I got your back, Jack. I can help you. I can. And others who know this information can help you. I'm not the only one. I just learned it. When you learn something, you use it, right? It's kind of like that guy. You ever see the 40 guy on Instagram? And he was like, if I only knew. And that's what he does. He's like, who knew? Who knew? These little tricks of the trade might be in favor for you. Might be the easiest thing to help you heal. Turn that PTSD around. Are you sick of going angry? Are you sick of seeing red? Are you sick of fighting battles that you don't need to fight? Because that is what you're programmed to when you are in that. Courage, pride, and anger. You have to see red in order to fight. Because if you didn't see red and you weren't angry, you wouldn't fight. So probing you to be that angry constantly with the tones and the intonations around you, giving you those special power waves to subliminally support that brain. And now in the civilian world where you're out and there is no disaster, but you see it. You see problem battlefields everywhere. Sad. Because you can't get out of it, but you can. You can. You have to train the ego in your mind to stop. Right? And we do that by frequencies. And then if you are on medication, we will put those frequency meds off and you back down and we come out little bit by little bit by little bit. And that's how we heal the neurons of the brain for PTSD and TBI. I've done it. I've watched it. I've had circles with PTSD vets. But you got to do them. You got to do PEMF cords. You got to do Reiki. You got to do acupuncture. You got to do the physical. You got to make the flip pattern that you're going to do it, right? Because we're here to flip old belief patterns of the body, old beliefs, systems of the mind, body, and soul. You've been conditioned by man in health class, conditioned again through doctors, conditioned again by learning old things. Sometimes going back to basics and understanding what God gave us, or the universe in itself, our planetary systems are giving us and healing us with the plants around us. It's spring. My goodness, I am collecting so many buds right now because all of the flowers budding are actually medicinal. I'm going to say it again. There's a part of every budding tree right now in spring. But yeah, fill up that mason jar, put up with 100% alcohol, put a lid on it. 6 weeks in a dark root cellar or a wine cellar, that type of fruit, that type of 70 kind of 60 coolish air. You'll be your homedic real soon. There's all types of homedic books of healing yourself by your plants in your backyard. I would highly suggest for all those with PTSD, you look at that. You can make your own tinctures. And when you compile it with the frequencies, man, you are on your road. What's that song? You're on your way to Judea. Anybody ever see History of the World Part 1 with Mel Brooks? Right? The Ethiopian Chimsham. It was all frequency. Even in that movie, think about it. Think about the times, evolution of the world with the frequencies in that movie. They proved it again. It is an awareness that when you become aware about frequencies and about how you react to the full moon, how many nurses and doctors out there You're like, oh my God, I don't want to work on the full moon. All the crazies come in. It's affecting the neurons of the brain, right? So let's get to those before it affects them. And then we can have peace all over. We don't have to have chaos on the streets and chaos in the, in our ERs. Why? Because our brothers, our sisters, our friends, our family, our coworkers, when we see it, maybe we can hint to them, how about trying frequencies? How about trying it? It doesn't hurt to try it. I'll tell you what, you give me an 84-year-old who has all kind of arthritis, and all of a sudden they don't have pain. They can get up and down without the or the pain. I go, it'll make a believer out of you very quickly when you see that reaction. Just changing the scope of the DNA frequency will help us. We are all born with a strand of genetics that have diseases, our bacterias, our emotional problems. That is genetic pattern. You can change it. I know our government doesn't want you to because money when they find out, but I got news for you. 1994, they rejected them. 2000, the American Cancer Society said it doesn't work. 2000. 2025, they are selling, and not on the black market, all kind GP 4000s. They're selling all types of different rifes. Imaginic Fullets, Spookies, you name it, they're selling it. And they're selling it from Europe. All of Europe. Mr. Trump, I'm talking to you now. Do not put those tariffs on healing modalities to heal people. If you are for the people, by the people, and what our desires are not to have inoculations thrown into our bodies. Fix it. Kill those viruses once and for all. Use something. If you believe in Elon Musk and Tesla, then obviously you have to believe in Einstein, Albert Einstein, Royal Raymond Rife, and Nikola Tesla. They're the founders of the frequencies of healing. They're the founders. That is what people they have tried to bury for years on end. I'm not the only one who thinks like this. The more and more is coming. It's the new age of health, and it's coming. It's alternative medicine, and it's coming prevalent because they are realizing that every pill that we put in our body is affecting another organ. They are now realizing that the inoculations that you are putting in your body is also creating autism. The mercury, the aluminums that are being administered. These are all part of a wave. You can detox your body. It's called terrain. And you can do it by frequency sounds. And you can remove parasites from our being now, that the parasites that they're thinking that cause cancerous pustules. It's there. It's time for us to wake up and understand we have the power to heal ourselves. Mind, body, and soul. I hope you all enjoyed this. That is my healing session for the day with belief and flip patterns of science, with belief and flip patterns of our own mind that we have been accustomed to be brainwashed. It's the bottom line. You're brainwashed the way you think. If you don't like things not going your way, change it. It's going to hurt a little bit. It's going to be emotional a little bit. But then you have beautiful people who love you and they want to support you. Maybe your wife, maybe a coworker. Hell, it may be a DJ podcaster. Who knows? But there is room for improvement in all of us. And there is room for every single one of us to heal as brilliantly and as highly as possible. I want to show you something else. The people who are alternative medicine and things that are being allowed have come such a long way that now we can do it with a fingernail, or we can do it without a fingernail, and we could just give you a hollow sticker. We program hollows, right? Any type of holographics you can program. Holographics are programmed to be hollow. So now we put frequencies within the hollows and you stick them on your body, and that's it. No pills, no pain, no having to go. You get the diagnostic. We program the diagnostic into a DNA heal, repair, restore, and balance, and a killing field if it's bacteria or if it's a disease. All other aches and pains are through genetics. Yeah, it's a sticker. They're a little, they're they're a little pamperish. You can't put them in direct sunlight, can't get them wet, can't put them on magnets. But if you don't do any of that, they are 100% an easy way. I got a headache the other day, and I carry, instead of aspirin, I carry a couple of those. I put it on the backside of my neck just because I had a headache. 15 minutes, I had no headache. That is how quick they work, right? What was a headache? Headaches are caused by inflammation. So when you take a Tylenol or you take an Advil, you're taking inflammation, right? You're taking something to stop the inflammation because it's the inflammation that's causing the pain within the body. So why do I need all of that that is not even made by man? Or it's made by man. It's not made by the universe. It's not made by our planet. So natural sound waves intercept whatever the inflammation to take it out. That's the story, folks. I hope you enjoyed. Again, I'm going to cut this early. And many, many blessings to this beautiful new spring season, the beautiful risen of the I Am presence. And for all of you in Passover and all of you who are celebrating this equinox in this denomination field, we honor, we bless you, and we love you from the internals to the externals. I'm MJ. I'm signing out today. Please, please, please contact me. If you have questions, you can see it on the bottom. It's right down there. It's the World of Conscious Positive Thinking at mbradio.us. You can also call into the studio if you want, or you can email MBR Radio. They'll get the messages to us. There's all kind of ways, or you can go on any of the modalities that we have. We are on Roku. We're on Amazon. We're on X. We're on TikTok, Facebook. We're all over Spotify, Apple Music. I think they're picking up some more. So, and we also have an app. So go to our app store. You can go to and pick up Military Broadcast Radio app, and you can follow along there. While you go, you don't have to be on a Wi-Fi, and then you can see the stream is on there. So we enjoy you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you, Terry. Great show, MJ. All right. We'll see you next week. Actually, we'll see you tonight. Headline Beyond the Headlines is on tonight with Terry, myself. I believe Jewel might be present as well. What does he call himself? HR Nightmare. But he might come. He always throws that little flavor, right? he can bring MJ out of conscious positive real quick. But we love him, and we love to source it. So we'll see you tonight at 7 o'clock. And if not, we'll see you next week, Monday at 9 a.m. for our 2-hour special. See you later, folks.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.